porch in my zero gravity chair. That's who I am. I don't know who you are. Who are you? No,
I'm Jim. I'm sitting here. I'm trying to host this, but
yeah, Jim is definitely the host. I am just the guy in a zero gravity chair who has a. I don't even know if it's a good memory. It's just I'm haunted by a lot of my past exploits.
Well, Mark Chalabala is our memory from high school,
that is
grade
true.
school, everything.
Surprising for the amount of drinking I did that I still have retained a lot.
I don't
of
think you were doing a lot of drinking in grade school, were you?
No, with my father, sippy cup. He was a Buckhorn man, and we'd sit out and listen to Sox games on summer nights. He'd bring out the little sippy cup. He'd have a full Buckhorn or Falstaff, and then I would get my little sippy cup filled. And it was always, "Don't tell your mother." Yeah, Mom, I'm drinking with Dad. We're hitting the hooch.
Okay.
We're getting liquored up on the stairs.
Well,
the stoop.
The thing I remember about going to Edison is that we had to have two teachers because we had such a big class. We had we figured 44.
Yes, we figured. I think
twice as many as every other class. So there was a comet or something that came around in 1964. Increased the fertility. I guess the fertility was up to 63. Yeah, or early 64.
And it's weird too because it's like if we had moved into the town and said, "Oh my God, what happened in this town?" But when you lived there, that for us it was just normal. Like Stickney had 44 kids my age.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible. Like you think about how many kids. There were like 2 kids on every block, and there was a lot of blocks in Stickney. So
I remember we had a morning kindergarten and an afternoon kindergarten.
Yes, I was a morning.
Because my neighbor Jeff Costel was in the afternoon, and we were in the morning. So
I should have brought out the photos. We could have done photos of this, but I have some. I will do this another time. Anyway, yeah. So like when you grow up with 44 kids, like when you grow up in a large family, right? Like the Brady Bunch, right? Did they ever think, "Hey, I wish I was an only child"? There's 6 of them all the time. There's always somebody in your porridge, right? So yeah, Stickney with 44 kids is like, I mean, there were 10, and I think we counted the kids. There were 10 bullies in our class, 10, and like, so then what? They split up the bullies 5 and 5.
I hope they did. I think that they put 5 in each class.
Yeah.
Now, did we stayed in our separate classes the whole 9 years, right? They didn't mix us up again. I think
right, but I think whatever then. Because like I had Dave in some classes, not like he was not in my science class. He was in my social studies class.
Oh, okay.
So I would have loved to have seen how they did this, how they mixed this up. Because Dave was there for social studies. He was to my right, and Nazi Joe was in front of me, like right in front of me. So when we were showing the Holocaust and stuff, and everybody's watching Joe, he was like right in front of me. Yet in science, Dave was with you guys probably. So they probably took the things where high IQ mattered and. Because were you in class with your brother?
Yeah, we were together.
Isn't that weird? Like, why didn't they split you guys up?
I think my mom said that it would be traumatic or something.
Well, what do you think? Would it have been traumatic? I don't know.
The
guy who didn't have a brother.
He was the kind of my best friend, so like not being able to go to school with your best friends, like you and Dave being split up all the time.
Yeah, we were split up all the time. It was okay.
Yeah.
But I remember we had Miss it wasn't an option. Kids didn't have a choice.
We had Miss Andrews, who became Mrs. Pomerenning.
Yes.
And she followed us all the way, I think, through
first grade. Because kindergarten we had the split classes, so one teacher did double duty.
Yeah.
And then, actually, our second grade teacher, I believe, and maybe it was my sister's year, there was Mrs. Detmer.
Right.
And get this, Jim, she was my dad's second grade teacher. I have a picture of my father. So he was born in 28. So you add 7 to 28, 1935. A young and supple Mrs. Detmer teaching young Miles Chalavala, and then all those years later, she teaches me.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about the math involved there. That wow.
Well, I don't think my dad went to grade school in Stickney, so I don't think he had any teachers. Mrs. Matz was ancient.
Yeah, and my mom was friends with her way long after school was. We hung out with her till she was dead. And she died. She was like almost 90 when she kicked it. But my mom used to make her Christmas cookies every year, like as a paid commission.
Was she teaching when she was 90?
No. When she retired, she was done. But then she was always in need of my mom's baking because I guess she couldn't bake worth a lick. So my mom was always making cakes or cookies or something, whatever. And I think they just had a friendship. And So all of a sudden, here I am. I'm like whatever, like in college or whatever, and then it's like Mrs. Matt's coming to the house. Like, what the hell?
Now, one thing I remember is sitting in alphabetical order, and poor Deborah Zawataro was always sitting in the back corner there.
Her grandmother lived next door to me, Mrs. Johnson. So there is, if you want, I think I know where the picture is. There's a picture here. I'm going to go get this. Hang on for a second. Hang on, folks. You got to see this.
Mark's going to go get some pictures.
Yeah, so you tell a story well. I got a picture here. I know where exactly.
Well, the other thing that I remember is having the two classes. When we had hot dog lunches and stuff, we would get together for that. We'd have our lunch period together. Field trips were always both classes together.
Yes, we were.
And then when we had the assemblies downstairs in the auditorium, they'd kind of smudge us all together.
So here is young Mark in 1966.
Up a little bit. There you go.
Young Mark in 1966 with his tractor, and in the background there you see that garage.
Yes.
So the garage, this only came into mind later, apparently existed in 1966. Debbie Zavatero's grandfather, one day drives in the garage and forgets to turn off the engine, thereby ending his life.
He forgot, or
speculate as you may. I think he just remembers and says, "Time to go," and so the garage was taken down and never to be replaced. It's the only house on the block that has no garage. And again, Mrs. Johnson never had a car, so it wasn't like, "Hey, where do I park this thing?" There, obviously, when she got rid of the husband, she got rid of the car too, because it kind of was evidence, I believe. And so, her backyard was the only one without. So as a kid growing up, like, why doesn't she have a garage? Shut up. I'm not talking about that. Turns out 3 people on our block, did the same thing.
What?
Yeah. Guy across the street.
Nobody in Stickney did that.
Guy across the street did it, and then I guess two or three doors down, same thing. Always in the garage. You leave the car running.
Now, we can't talk about Edison without talking about Cub Scouts, man. That was a big part of...
Yeah.
At least for me.
Well, yeah, because your father was waiting. You
were in the den with Dave.
We were with Mrs. Dingo's den, and pounded a lot of nails. Mr. Dingo, Milty, had a lot of 4x4s. He would stop on the side of the road and pick up wood, and we would just spend whole meetings just pounding nails.
Who was it who had the leather making kit? Was that Mr. Dingo too?
No. That sounds more like Dan Heron.
Oh,
because Dan Heron, those kids learn how to roll cigarettes. Like, we're coming out of there, we had, and I'm sure Dave had his a lot longer than mine. We had these 4x4s where you drew your name in pencil and you pounded the nail so it spelled out your name. So that's what we came out with, and the other kids that went to Dan Heron's dad, they came out learning how to roll cigarettes.
So a cigarette rolling little jig or something.
I think they were doing it by hand, and and so basically those kids came out with a life skill. What do we got? What am I going to do with a hammer and a nail, right? Those kids learn how to roll smoke.
Well, I remember making the Indian headdresses and the Indian outfits and doing the little
I try to black out as much of it as I can. I think a lot of it with scouting and a lot of these organizations that you had to join when you were a kid, it's about who you're with. And I wouldn't say, because you guys had your dad or whatever, our troop and our whatever we were doing. So how did you guys weren't with us? Did we have 2 troops?
Oh, we had a bunch of dens. We had like 4 or 5 dens.
Oh, okay. Because I was trying to
figure 5 or 6 kids in the den, and we had like 20 boys in the.
Okay, that would make sense then. Yeah, so because I don't remember like being 4 or 5 kids in the den, and that's right. I thought that too would be double the size or whatever. There'd be like 20 of us in each den. But yeah, you're right. And it was okay. I just think I was playing soccer and I was in the band and stuff. So when time, that too in Succo,
No.
Same thing. No time.
That's a whole different podcast.
That is an entirely different podcast.
Little league, soccer, all the sports stuff.
Yes, but no, So Scotty was okay. I remember going camping once or twice or something. A lot of walks.
Yeah, a lot of hikes.
Our father. What it was our fathers. Dave's dad, my dad, Mr. Dinga, and probably Mr. Heron too. We go for these crazy walks, whatever, out here in the burbs. And the fathers would always be there, and you're like, wow, they're really participating. They were dragging a cooler So they were like 30 seconds, 40 seconds behind us for drinking. That's what not at your troop. Our troop was like, they was the drinking. So the kids would tear off. Oh, yeah, don't get too far ahead, kids. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And they come out with, like, empties, so there'd be like, they might start a trip with a 12er, and they were 0 for 12 when they came back, all done.
Interesting.
And they were, their hype was done, and they were done. They were like, well, isn't that, we bonded with our children, isn't that? Like, I would love to talk to my dad about, what his mindset. Well, we're going to go out there, we're going to go drinking. Because it's the weekend, and that's what we do. But yeah, then I think it was our summer home. I had no time for scouting on the weekends. We were gone every weekend, and so scouting had to be like Monday through Friday.
It really kind of disappeared in the summer. There might be a hike or two, but we don't.
Well, I do right, and I think a lot of it is your impetus to continue on, and obviously you go to Weeblos, and then that was you made your commitment or not, and I did not. Yes. And you guys obviously committed all the way.
We went up to the Eagle, but. I remember wearing our uniforms to school on the day of our dad meetings.
Yeah.
And the really sad thing is my son in Cub Scouts. He said, "Dad, can I wear my uniform to meeting?" And kids picked on him. And I go, no one picked on us when we did, because everybody had their uniforms on. All the boys did.
Well, right, but I think,
and the Girl Scouts did the same thing.
I think that was it. It was in our generation, back in the day. I think there was just more of a community commitment to schooling, to what was going on. I mean, when you had half your class wearing uniforms, it's really tough for the other half to pick on them. Why wasn't Chuck Steff in scouting or whatever? Because they really could have done something. They just didn't. They found other things to pick on. And, whatever they, like band or whatever, there was a ton of kids doing whatever that was, I never played basketball, but Edison had its own basketball team, for God's sakes. I mean,
now
I think we're really good at it.
We gotta go back to band, because I remember having that assembly, and they had all the instruments up on the stage.
Yes.
And I'd already been taking violin lessons for a year, so I walked up, I picked up the violin.
Look at
I started playing. They said, "Okay, you're going to be in the intermediate orchestra because you don't need to be in the beginning orchestra."
Wow!
But how did you pick up the tuba, man?
So here's the story, and as chronicled in my books, that I have actually written, which is true. Jimmy the Whiz, where's Bicky? I was pulling in a cool 25 cents a week allowance for just being on the planet, and for 25 cents, I had to climb on the roof. I had to clean gutters, had to shovel snow, had to cut grass, rake leaves, did it all for 25 cents. Same band day down in the auditorium. There had been something about drumming at some juncture. I did Cal drum music for like a picosecond, and all the drumming music is actually X's, and it's very hard for me to what the hell is that? That doesn't look like a note. It's an X. Well, yeah, that's the beat.
Yeah.
So I really didn't launch on the drums. Anyway, so we're standing there, and I'm near the end, as I often was in things, because that's where all the jokes are told. And so Jimmy the Whiz leans in. He's like, "Hey, got a deal for you. Pick up that tuba mouthpiece, and I'll give you 50 cents." And because I was only making a quarter at that time, I said, "Well, yeah, I'm in on that." And figuring I could just pick it up, go through the motions, sit back down, get your 50 cents. And so what happened was, this was like the Music Man. As soon as you pick up, there's our tuba player. And I'm like, uh-oh, trouble in Sector G. So
he must have known that's what was going to happen.
No, I don't think he did. We were at the end, because he picked up the trumpet. He was the trumpeter for about a week. And what happened was, that night, I want to say it was like a Tuesday or Thursday night, or day during the day. That night was the parent conference about the band program. So the whole reason that the kids were there to touch instruments and try things was to give the Mr. Leonard, the band guy, some impetus as to who's going to be in the band. So all of a sudden, I went from being a total non-participant to, "Hey, you're coming tonight, right? With your parents?" And I was like, uh-oh. So now what do I got? Because now I can't exactly go to my dad and say, "Dad, just between us men, I was totally screwing around, for 50 cents. Didn't happen. And next thing you know, they bought me this mouthpiece, this $8 mouthpiece, which in the 70s that was like
Did you have to chip in your 50 cents on that?
I did not, but I do remember getting a lot of trouble. I lost it in about 8th grade. I think I was in 8th grade. I must have left it on the bus or something. I must have fallen out of whatever I had, and never to be replaced. So after that, all the mouthpieces I played in high school, all the mouthpieces I played in college were borrowed. And now I have, 120 mouthpieces or something in my collection. But yeah, no, it was all a bluff, and I did it for 50 cents. And then when I couldn't admit the bluff to my dad, I was in the band. And of all the instruments, the saving grace was that when you play tuba, there's no technical merit. Like, you don't have to qualify. Can you pick it up? You're in. And so that was basically how it got me all the way to college. I could pick up the tuba. I could lift it. And I was in. There was no playing aptitude. There was no challenging to get your chair. Show up. You're in.
Yeah.
And so that carried me all the way through. Like, if I had to actually practice, because I would have been whatever, if there was 100 tuba players, I would have been last. But there was never 100 tubas. The most there were 4. And even when there were 4, I think I ended up being 3rd or something. There was actually a kid worse than me. He couldn't even pick up the horn, so I think he was actually lower than me. But that was in high school. And so I actually sat next to this Jackie Patasek, 4th grade to high school.
Well, she was in Lions?
No, she Forest View. She went to homeschool.
Homeschool, okay.
Her family were all tuba players, though, so this was like a rite of passage for her. So she took it seriously. She could actually play. I just told her, I was probably 5th or 6th grade. I just, we didn't talk a lot, which I would love to talk to her now. We never spoke. And all I remember telling her was, listen, I'm terrible at this. I will never embarrass our department, our section, all 2 of us. I said, if there's too many black notes on the page, I'm going to cut out. And I'm not even going to play. Because all you would hear was, let's take clarinets, let's take it over again, and 1 and then 2, and everybody would blow through. And the tuba section was never called upon because I never played. I just didn't play the horn at all. I sat there. So she had a solo, for whatever that was. Let's see, that would have been 8 years.
So when did you start taking tuba seriously and really start playing it?
Never did.
Never even in college?
No. Never.
You never learned to play tuba properly?
No, never. I had lessons, but they were over at the Berwyn Conservatory of Music. My teacher, Mr. Dreyer, he was a drunk. So halfway through, we would be halfway through. At the beginning of the lesson, he's like, we need to sanitize our mouthpieces. So I'm like, sanitize your mouthpiece? His had this golden shade to the water that he put it in. Well, yeah, it was Jim Beam. I get to sanitize the water. He's using Jim Beam, so by the end of the lesson, yeah, that was a great lesson. Oh, you did well, kid. A+. I'll bring the next kid in there. Bring the next kid in there. I love you guys.
Marching band. You faked all that stuff.
Yeah, I could play loud. I couldn't play well. I got better when I got out of college. But I got better because I realized that I can't read music. I can hear it. So when I would be playing in District 103 Jazz Band, I knew the song.
Yeah.
So I would make up the notes. And whoever
so
stand up,
what the hell is going on the bass line?
Yes. It had nothing to do with the notes that were actually played. So most of the time I'm sitting up there, I was just making it up. And you got away with it. Because
jazz band you can.
He wanted 2 tuba players. And if he would have said, we got to play the notes as written, I'd have said, have a nice day.
So you and the other tuba player were playing 2 different
Jackie
lines.
Patasek was, yes. Jackie was also in jazz band, yes. So she played it straight up. She could actually play and read the notes and play it, and I was riffing.
But you had soul.
No.
No, you didn't have soul. You were just...
No.
Okay.
So really, it wasn't until I got out of college and I realized that that's where I was really good at. I could just listen to a song on the radio and kind of come close to the notes, and that's what second line music is down in New Orleans. It's all, boom, 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 boom. It's the rhythm. You take, instead of boop, 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 which is a march, you go boom, 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 and I can do all that.
Yeah.
And that's not anything we played in grade school or high school. That does not qualify. So I had no idea that music even existed until I got out and I said, oh my God, I can play that. And I love it. But it has nothing to do with reading music. I'm horrible at it. I can guess the key signatures generally.
I never knew that.
It's so much easier. You should just play tuba. It's so much easier. There's no qualification. Pick up the horn you qualify.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, now Dave, he took his clarinet very seriously. I mean,
he did.
He was practicing.
Yeah, he would practice all the time with Mrs. Wolf. Again, at the Berwyn Conservatory of Music, we had Saturday morning lessons together.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time. And Huckleberry. And so he had a real teacher really trying to... And my guy's like, sanitize that mouthpiece again. Which is so typical of the tuba realm. You have to get good at drinking. Had he just been more straight up, it's like, kid, the horn's going to get a lot easier if you drink a little more. I would have... been light years ahead.
I had one instructor at Calderon's, and then I moved over to Berwyn, and that was Perry Smyer. And then he left there, and he was teaching out of his house in Westmont. So I used to get on the train.
Wow.
I'd pick up the train at Oak Park.
Holy cow.
And 31st there.
Yeah.
I'd take the train out to Westmont and walk 2 blocks to his house.
Holy cow.
2 or 3 times I missed his stop, and I had to walk back like a half mile from the other stop.
When we were kids, how did you get to the train? You walked, right?
Oh, yeah, I walked. No one drove me.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, now, the thought that you were going to walk like 6 or 8 blocks to get to a train, like, whoa, there's no way. Nobody walks that far.
Yeah, my kids, they don't even want to learn how to drive. Getting my older son to get his driver's license was...
Well, in an emergency, it's kind of nice to know, but if you can get away without it... I mean, I was 23 when I got a license. I didn't need it.
Oh, really? You didn't get yours at 16?
So here's the story, folks. Here's your tip. If you've got an older sister, look out. Because my dad died, God rest his soul, Mom had this crazy idea that we needed 2 drivers in the family. It sounds good on paper. She was the older of the 2 of us, and, the more mature and thoughtful one. So all of a sudden, she goes through driver's ed, and, gets her learning permit or whatever, gets her driver's license, and then Mom puts her behind the wheel. Now, this is before the age of, transparency, when all facts will be found out eventually. So apparently, she got into 4 accidents in her first year of driving. Now, if you're under the age of 25, you get 4 things on your card. They should, stop you from driving, right? She hit a guy over here in Brookfield, right by where the line's sitting. Guys, on rainy night, guys crossing Ogden Avenue, she cracks into him. I guess got him in the hand. His hand was... That's how close it was.
Yeah.
To, killing a guy, right? Mangles his hand or whatever. Yeah, ripped his arm off, mangles him. And the only reason I know is because some legal documents got sent to the house, and here I am. Checking that mail. Whoa! Law offices of whoa! Traffic accident regarding animal. Whoa! Hey now! And so 4 accidents, right? So my mom has to pay. So my sister is at probably $2,000 a year for insurance. I have no idea. I don't know. It's astronomical. So the only thing I hear about all this is, got some bad news for you. If you're looking to drive, you got to pay your own insurance. So not that I was looking to drive, but that sealed it. It just sealed it.
So how are you getting the college and stuff?
Jim, this is one of the secrets of life. It is not as important about what you own personally. It's what your friends own that they will have you hang around. So, couple things. Got to college. I would get dropped off. No problem. On college, you don't need a car, right? Not back then. Now you probably do because,
No. I mean,
everybody's got a car now.
Well, I mean, you may have one, but you don't take it to the campus.
No. But you go home. And the car allows you to go home and go wherever you want on the weekend. So, Illinois State now is a commuter college. So people live in Brookfield and go to ISU Monday through Friday. They come home every weekend.
Oh, so they're staying there during the week.
But they, we used to stay on campus. Nobody stays that's only 2 hours in a car. I'm like, too long. So what happened was, I got down there and I declared myself an independent because that gives you more Pell Grants and whatever, but you can't stay at home over the summer.
Uh-huh.
And I was down there anyway taking classes, so that only allowed me to take 12 credit hours, 4 classes, plus band. 13, but it was a much lower course load, obviously, but then I would take the short semester. I'd take your hardest class of the year during short semester, just hammer it 6 hours a day for a month, done. Then I'd take 2 more classes in the summer, and by doing that, I could take 12 credit hours a semester. And I'd get a job, because all the kids would go home, and they're getting jobs around here painting, and I'm down there going, I work at your gas station stocking. And I got whatever job I wanted. Nobody did that. And so, but because I did that, because I got all the grant money, all of a sudden school's free. And, the only money I had to borrow was for the housing. But I didn't have a car. Didn't have a driver's license. So I had a bicycle. And I had friends that had cars. Because what's a fourth car going to... we got 3 guys in an apartment with cars. What's a fourth car going to get us? We're all hanging out together anyway. It's not like 2 of the cars are not used. So I got out. I got home. And I graduated at 22, I think. Yeah, because I was studying abroad. And I was working this job at the bank. And I think I was at the bank for like 6 months. And I realized... I should probably get a car, because my mom was dropping me off every day, and she'd go to work. So literally, she took me with the Dan Ryan. I think not Dan Ryan. Who was Dan Walker? Was our governor. Rules of the Road, from the 70s. We cracked that baby out, like in the 80s, and we went to the cemetery. I did a couple laps. I think I got this. Now imagine your kid. A couple laps at a set. We're going to go get your driver.
And they would freak out.
Right. So I went. And, whatever Melrose, and it's got I'd already scouted out a car. I had, some money for a down payment or whatever. And literally got my driver's license at, my mom took me over there 4 o'clock. And then I had her drive me over to the car dealership, which is over on East and Ogden.
Okay.
There was a Pontiac dealer. I was looking at this Pontiac Le Mans. And so literally... I signed the paperwork. The guy's like, "Oh, you got a driver's license, right?" And the guy's like, "It's still warm." I go, "Yeah, it just came out of the laminator like an hour ago." And the guy's like, "What? Nobody's ever done that. Like you're 16." I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy this car. I just got the license. I'm good. I'll drive off the lot." And so, same day, driver's license and own the car, same day.
Wow. The other thing I remember from grade school, and I don't know if you ever participated in this, was the musicals we did.
They were not musicals. We did Trouble with Tribbles. That's not a musical.
That was a play, but we did do. I remember we did one that was a bunch of rock songs. We did Rock and Robin. We did.
With the music program. Yeah, I was in the background on those things. I was not a feature at that juncture. I got in trouble. I got in trouble with Mrs. Lockett, the music teacher, a lot because we would get just these philosophical differences in life, right? Because she's living in treble clef. And for what little music I knew was bass clef. So she's going, what are the, FACE, every good boy does fine. Not in bass clef, it ain't. And so every time there's a quiz, I'm doing horrible at this. And she would not convert. You're a music teacher. You know how to convert this. I got the right answers for my clef. I was the only bass clef guy in the class, so I'm failing all of them. My mom's like, "Oh, he's in band. I don't understand." I go, "Mom, these aren't right. This is, I've got the whatever. I got the C, the backward C. She's got the S." Mom said, "What?" So I draw it to her. "Yeah, that's trouble." Yeah, I'm in bass clef, Mom. These aren't what I studied. These aren't the notes I know. So it was just horrible, and I just didn't like that. I'm not a Mrs. Lockett.
Well, yeah, the play. I remember the Trouble with Tribbles. Did we do any other plays?
I
remember making all those tribbles. That was fun.
Trouble with Tribbles. There had to be another one. We had to have done because we had so many kids. I mean, you could do a full.
I remember one where they were
Hamilton.
They made a Xerox machine where we wrote our own play and they had to play on Xerox or something, and they used me and Rich, so they copied one of us, and they had 2 of them.
I have no recollection.
I remember that.
I must have been in my hallucinatory. I have no recollection of that at all.
Okay.
But they had to involve the whole class.
Yeah.
It just had to, so we must have been doing it. I mean, I was not a huge, I was not, but I was out there. I do remember, we did Hard Rock Coco and Joe. Remember I was one of the...
you were Hard Rock Cop Coco and
I think
Joe.
I was Joe.
You were probably Joe, yeah.
I was Joe. And then...
That old Ray Rayner cartoon.
Yep.
Every year.
I do remember there'd be a talent night or something, and everybody had
talent night, yeah. I remember there was one girl that did Irish jigs every year. Barbara Broderick?
No, that's high school. I have no idea. That doesn't ring a bell, Jim. Maybe you grew up in the second family.
But I remember the other cool thing about Edison was the lower grades went to school in the north part of the school, and then the south part, that was for 6th, 7th, 8th.
Yeah, you as you went to school, you moved down
the hall.
Further down the hallway. Then you got to go to the second entrance.
So on the opposite end of the principal's office.
Right, I have no idea. It had to be 5th grade where the like you stopped going in that main entrance.
Sixth grade.
You had to go around the back.
Up to 5th grade was in the north end.
Right, all the little kids would be at one end of the school playing in the playground, and then we'd be at the end. And then, of course, we were in band and orchestra, so at 6:30, Dave and I were walking over to catch that bus. That's
when you started getting the real bullying, was when you were in 6th, 7th, 8th.
Yes.
The 8th graders would pick on you.
Yeah, and for a class our size, there was plenty to pick on. We had
Jimmy Granton.
Jimmy Granton. Oh, Perry Kaczynski is what I was thinking about.
Okay.
Perry, I don't know what his prison number was, but he has a prison number. I don't know if he's still in prison, but he was there. Gosh. He was a guest in the States.
He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, well, I think that was the thing. Once everybody stayed on their block, I mean, I got to move around a few different groups, but like Dave did not really hang out with like John Gondos and Scott Dinga. He really, and I did. I guess we were in soccer together, and we were in, I guess, just hanging out with sports and stuff. I was more hanging, a lot more soccer with Scott, but yeah, like we really didn't hang out, a couple times with Janowick, a couple times with Jim Mann, but it wasn't like every day you would just see these. But there were so many kids that like you could just go to like the ballpark, and there'd be like 5 guys in your class show. Well, 5 out of like 20, that's still 20 whatever 25%, but it's like, my God, that's enough to play a game.
Yeah.
Whereas other classes, like 5 guys is like half your class. This is like nothing.
Now, hanging out at your house was always best because your mom always had cookies or cake.
That's true. Mom did not. She loved the lard and did not spare the lard on anything. And hell of a cook.
I don't remember hanging out as much at Dave's house. No. It was always at your house.
Dave's mom was not a cook. They actually ate, what do they call it, market day food up until like 10 years ago.
Yeah. She
was still in the market day program at Edison School getting boxed burgers or whatever, to help the school for 10 cents or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Dave about his dietary intake back in those days, but it was not, I don't remember, I do remember that Dave is one of those kids that you had to peel the skin off the wiener. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Dave did not eat the wiener skin? Did he eat crusts on his sandwiches?
If my mom was here, she could tell you all about it. I'm going to give Dave a pass on the crust.
Well, Jeffrey Costel did not eat crust on his bread.
Yes. Well, so I would have, maybe it was a genetic. I don't know, because they're not really genetically related.
But their mother, well, it wasn't their mothers, it was their fathers that were related, so.
Yes. Yeah, but Dave was a weenie guy, and then, I know.
I never even heard of anyone peeling the skin off a hot dog.
Yeah, and again, you think about how many hot dogs we ate. A lot of hot dogs. Did you ever hear the story?
What did he do on the hot dog luncheons? Did he had to have?
No. I think the difference was depending on the hot dog.
Okay.
So if you did like an Oscar Mayer, that's something you could peel off. But if you did a Daisy brand, that was something you could pull off, like that whatever it is, intestine or whatever. You're
so like if you're like the bratwurst type skins.
Yes.
Those.
So here's a little segue, kiddies. So no good deed goes unpunished. When you spend your entire grade school career drawing in a wooden desk with your pen and saying, Mark was here, whatever, I ate this class, whatever you're writing. Be warned that occasionally you end up being a high school janitor as a summer job, and you get to take out all the ink marks that you put into there. There's a product called Vandalex. It will take out the marker. So Dave's dad was a janitor. Dave got a job there. A whole bunch of us ended up getting jobs as janitors in District 103, cleaning the desks that we actually dirtied up. So I was a janitor for, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Steve was the janitor.
Steve was there. Mark Ream was there. Scott Serafiniak ended up being. Przicki was there. Malina was part of that too. We were on this big, huge crew. Anyway, we were. I don't remember what school it was, Robinson or something. Mike Anderson was where I'm going with this. And we go to the home ec room, and we got to clean, take care of home. We open the oven, and there's a tray of hot dogs from the last hot dog luncheon. God. And so this is like July, so we're figuring that probably end of May. It was like an archaeological discovery.
Oh,
they were black. They were things were growing. It was like a base for growth, and so of course we can't let this pass without incident. We bribed Mike Anderson $1 to take a bite out of one of these hot. Yes, and so we got. I think Mark Ream had to go home to get his camera because again we got to have documented proof that this happened. So we set it all up.
And he did it for $1.
He did it for $1, right? Fuzzy Pumper was $0.25 in high school. He did this for $1. So we set up, I don't know, Marcus ordered the camera. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, chomp. And I do remember he got it up. I mean, this thing was funky. It was like black. It was like the spores had exploded already. And he takes a chomp out of this thing. And it was like one of those gag cigars like you see in the cartoon where your face goes black. Yeah, it blew up on his face. And so, of course, he's spitting it out. And, oh, my God, that was horrible. And we're like, whoa, my friend. You got to eat that. That's the deal. You didn't take a bite and spit it out. No. You have to eat a bite. And he picked it up and he ate it. It's not good. So then, as a segue, I believe it was the same summer. Same protagonist comes in complaining about the cost of a haircut. Now again, we're making like $2.30 an hour or something as these janitors, right? So he's complaining that they wanted $8 for a haircut. And
where were you going for $8 for a haircut back then?
Scissors Palace, which is another. We're not going to get into that now. I got another story about Scissors Palace. Anyway, so he was going somewhere and it was like $8 or something. That was his complaint. So same guy, Mark Green says, I've got a home hair care kit. I can cut your hair. And so, again, he's like, okay. So he goes home, gets this kit, had the apron with all these little pockets and all the attachments. So he had this, like, electric trimmer, and you would put all these attachments onto it. And so, again, work is work, right? So we have to do this after hours. So I don't know, we knocked off work at like 2:30 or 3 o'clock or something. So right away we're like right into the home ec room with a bunch of brooms, and and the regular janitors are there too because they're I can't believe we're doing this. Oh, this is so crazy. You kids are so nuts. So we put Mike in his chair, and he's looking through the pamphlet
of the styles. And whatever I
think I had the apron on, and so he picks like a number 4, and I think my hair is actually cut with trimmers number 4, and that should leave you a good inch and a half of goods. So he picks a number 4, and I guess I got the numbers confused. I gave him like number 1. It was like the Baldy Sour. So Reem snaps it on, gives a look. Apply. Ying, ying, ying. Took it all. So Mike's going, oh, it's a little thin. And everybody there was like, look at this all is there. You can just see it all falling down. It's so funny. Woo, it's a little thin on top. So, I don't know, did something with Mark after work. We stopped and got a soda because we were laughing so hard or whatever. Mike goes home. And his mother sees his head. And again, we're whatever, out of high school, we're messing around. Mom sees his head, and all of a sudden, his mom is calling my mom. So by the time I hit the door, my mom's on the phone. So let me get this straight. Your 19-year-old son allowed my 19-year-old son to be involved with cutting his hair. And you're reporting that too much hair was cut off. That's what you're reporting now. So I want to make sure I got this. Yeah. Too much hair was cut off. What would you like me to do? Glue some back? You want me to put some frosting on it? What do you want? I'm just letting you know what your son did. He said, let me get this straight again. Your adult son allowed my adult son and others to cut his hair. And you're not happy with how it turned out? You'll file this under, not my problem, whatever. So she gets out what she's laughing her head off. She goes, really? You cut his hair? I said, Mom, there was a little bit of mix-up. He might have called for the number 4. I might have given him number 1. But what do you expect? I am Mark Chalbaugh with Porch Party. We are here discussing, the sentinel moments of our lives. Should they end before, the end of this? Remember to eat and enjoy every sandwich. Really, do not linger. Do not overstay your welcome, but enjoy every sandwich. And get the extra toppings.
I'm Jim Hosek with Porch Party, and we're just sitting on Mark's porch and
Pretty much.
Talking about stuff.
Yeah, talking about, that's a good way to put it, talking about stuff.